The Apshawa Preserve Tragedy. In September 2014, what began as a leisurely hike ended in the first recorded fatal bear attack in New Jersey in over 150 years. Darsh Patel, a 22-year-old computer science student at Rutgers University, ventured into the Apshawa Preserve with 4 friends. Unfamiliar with the wooded terrain, the group was enjoying the trails when they spotted a black bear watching them from a distance. Instead of retreating, they paused to take pictures, even capturing selfies with the bear in the background. This initial curious encounter quickly turned ominous when the bear began to move toward them. Its slow, cautious approach soon became a direct and focused advance. As the bear closed in, the group's composure shattered. They panicked and ran in different directions, a critical mistake in a bear encounter. In the chaos, Darsh was separated from his friends and was last seen fleeing down a separate path. When the others reached safety and realized he was missing, they alerted the police, triggering a search of the preserve. Approximately 2 hours later, authorities discovered Darsh's body about 60 yards off the trail. The scene was one of immense violence. His clothes were torn, and the evidence indicated a fierce struggle. The bear responsible was still nearby, displaying dangerously abnormal behavior by showing no fear of the arriving officers. Deeming it a threat to public safety, officials made the decision to euthanize the animal. During the investigation, Darsh's damaged phone was recovered near his body, and from it, investigators retrieved the photos he and his friends had taken. These images provided a crucial timeline, showing the bear from its initial sighting to moments before the attack. The subsequent autopsy revealed that none of his injuries were instantly fatal. Instead, he had died slowly from blood loss, remaining conscious throughout the brutal mauling. Missonaibi Park Tragedy. On September 6, 2005, an idyllic canoe trip through the Missonaibi Lake Provincial Park in Ontario, Canada, turned into a tragic fight for survival. Dr. Jacqueline Perry and her husband, Mark Jordan, both experienced outdoorsmen, had stopped to rest on a forested shoreline during a planned backcountry journey. Without any warning, a black bear emerged from the woods. The animal displayed no fear, bypassing normal cautious behavior to move directly toward Jacqueline and launch a sudden, unprovoked attack. It seized her and began dragging her into the dense underbrush. Mark Jordan, armed with only a small knife, rushed to his wife's defense. He engaged the bear in a desperate struggle, stabbing it repeatedly until the animal finally released Jacqueline and fled. The brutal fight left Mark badly wounded, but he had successfully driven the predator away. Tragically, Jacqueline suffered severe injuries. Despite the pain he was enduring, Mark was able to carry his wife back to their canoe and paddled to the nearest outpost for help. Upon reaching a remote lodge, emergency services were alerted, and a rescue helicopter was dispatched. Despite these efforts, Jacqueline had succumbed to her injuries and was pronounced dead. An autopsy later confirmed her death was the result of a bear mauling. In the aftermath, the Ontario Provincial Police and wildlife authorities fully documented the rare and deliberate attack. The bear was later tracked down and euthanized. Mark Jordan survived, bearing both physical and emotional scars from the ordeal. For his extraordinary bravery in risking his life to save his wife, Mark Jordan was later awarded the Star of Courage by the Canadian government, one of the nation's highest civilian honors for bravery. The story captured national attention, standing as a heartbreaking example of a rare predatory bear attack and a powerful testament to the lengths one person will go to save the person they love.
Durango, Colorado Tragedy. In the summer of 2019, 39-year-old Lainey Malavolta was walking her dogs down a trail in Trimble, a town 10 miles north of Durango, Colorado. At some point during her hike, she unexpectedly came across a black bear and her 2 cubs. Encounters with bears in the wild are rare, but when they involve a mother protecting her young, the risk of aggression increases dramatically. Terrified by the sudden presence of the animal, Lainey turned and began to run, but stumbled and fell. In the chaos, the bear charged at her and began to attack with force. Her dogs, unable to fight off the bear, escaped to safety and later found their way back home. Lainey was found dead after her boyfriend searched for her for more than an hour when her dogs returned home without her. Colorado Parks and Wildlife officers responded and found evidence of bear scat and hair around her body. Wildlife crews and trained tracking dogs found a female black bear and 2 cubs and euthanized them. They were taken to a state wildlife health lab in Fort Collins for necropsies. A wildlife pathologist then found human remains in the digestive systems of the black bear and one of her 2 cubs. An autopsy determined Lainey's cause of death was a perforating injury to the neck. Bear attacks in Colorado are rare, with Lainey's death marking the 4th documented fatal encounter with a wild bear in Colorado.
Cades Cove elk incident. It was October 2021, the peak of mating season, in Cade Cove's valley, located at the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, a place known for its wildlife sightings. A couple, who were seasoned visitors at the park, were enjoying a late afternoon hike on a trail skirting the edge of a known elk grazing area. In the distance, they saw a massive bull elk, standing protectively near a small herd of females. The couple, like many, were drawn to the spectacle. They paused to watch and take photos, believing the distance between them and the animal was safe. But for the bull elk, the elevated testosterone in his system made him hyper-aggressive and very protective. To him, the couple on the trail were potential threats to not only him, but his herd as well. Without much warning, the bull elk began to charge at the couple. Instinctively, the couple tried to run away, hoping the bull would give up on the pursuit. As the couple was running, the bull elk began to close the distance on them, and ultimately switched his focus on the woman, as she began to struggle to keep up with the pace of her husband. While coming up from behind, the bull elk struck her with his antlers with full force. The impact was catastrophic. Her husband could only watch in horror as the scene unfolded in a matter of seconds. The bull, having neutralized the perceived threat, retreated back to his herd. Despite frantic efforts and the swift response of emergency services, the woman had succumbed to her injuries. The incident was a devastating reminder that safe distance is a very important measure to keep when interacting with wild animals.
The Big Bend mountain lion attack. The Chihuahuan Desert of West Texas is a landscape of stark beauty and profound isolation. In the vast, rugged expanse of Big Bend Ranch State Park, a lone cyclist pushed his bike along a remote trail in the fall of 2020. He was experienced and prepared for the challenges of the desert, but he came alone. Unknowingly, he was being watched. A young male mountain lion, hungry for his next meal, had begun to stalk him. The mountain lion continued to follow the cyclist, moving from one scrub patch of cover to the next, blending perfectly with the desert rock and scrubs. The cyclist continued his journey, as there was no immediate sign of danger that he could detect. Once in striking range, the mountain lion launched itself at the cyclist from behind. The cyclist was thrown from his bike and was suddenly in a scuffle with the mountain lion for his life. He fought back with everything he had, using his hands, his bike, any object within reach. His backpack was torn, his clothes shredded in the fight for his life, but against the razor-sharp claws and powerful jaws of a predator, his efforts, while heroic, were not enough. The mountain lion, having succeeded in its hunt, covered the dead body with debris, a classic caching behavior that insists the predator is saving its kill for later. The cyclist's disappearance triggered a massive search operation. When searchers finally found the scene, the evidence was clear. This was a rare but definitive predatory attack. The mountain lion was still nearby, guarding its kill. Wildlife officials, following standard protocol for a human-killing predator, were forced to euthanize the animal. The story of the Big Bend attack sent a chill through the hiking and cycling communities. It stands as a somber lesson about the risks of solo travel in the remote backcountry of these remote parks. Yellowstone National Park Bison Incident. The trail through Yellowstone's geyser basin was a boardwalk,
a civilized path through an untamed landscape. For a 62-year-old woman from Australia, it was the adventure of a lifetime. She walked with her daughter as their eyes took in the otherworldly scenery. During their walk, they spotted a male bison grazing just off the path. Male bison are large animals and stand 6.5 feet tall and weigh nearly a ton. To the tourist, he seemed peaceful, and they were captivated by his sheer presence. The rule, "Stay at least 25 yards away from all wildlife," was a sign they had read, but in this moment, it felt like an abstract suggestion. The desire for a perfect close-up photograph pulled them closer. After telling her daughter to stay back, the mom took careful steps and closed the gap until she was a mere 10 feet away. What she perceived as calm was the quiet vigilance of a wild animal. To the bison, the woman approaching was not an admirer, but a threat. He felt cornered, with his escape route cut off. In his head, his only option was to charge at the perceived threat. His quick explosion of power left the woman no time to react or run. In one brutal, fluid motion, the bison lowered his head and launched the woman into the air with his horns. The world spun, from a beautiful panorama to a blur of sky and earth. She landed on the ground, her body suffering from multiple broken bones and head trauma. Her daughter watched, helpless. Other tourists screamed. The bison, having neutralized the threat he perceived, simply moved away and returned to grazing through the field. Tourists contacted park rangers, and soon after, an ambulance and a helicopter arrived to the scene. She was transported to the nearest hospital, where she later died from her injuries.